Hello. Hi. I wanted to make a quick video today about the LFC and Manchester United, Liverpool Football Club, and Manchester United Qatari Takeover Bid, because I think it's interesting. The oil money is very it's a substantial amount of money. It's geopolitical consequences. Those Saudi royal families are very, very rich, trillions of dollars, and they don't have to report their income. Like Jeff Bezos is a very publicly rich person, maybe the most publicly rich person, but these Saudi royal families, they're not public, but there's serious capital, and so their efforts to how would you put this? Their regime is not uncontroversial. And so the attempts to legitimize their interests through sports, sometimes called whitewashing or sportwashing, has implications. It impacts the most popular sport on the planet, which is football, and definitely impacts the most popular league on the planet, which currently is the English Premier League. So it's the most popular league, the most popular world's most popular sport, and two of the biggest clubs on the planet. So I figured that was interesting to cover. Now I'm going to be looking more at the Liverpool angle, because the American owners, Fenway Sports Group, FSG, has done something very interesting, which is chosen not to sell a majority share in the club. So they maintain controlling interest. Now, this is the Echo, the Liverpool Echo. It's a newspaper. This article that I will link to in the description box keeps a current tally of all the current developments in the case. It's recently up to date, 2 days old, and the story so far is that there's been legitimate interest from Qatari interests to purchase these clubs after they already, if I'm not mistaken, Newcastle United, Manchester City, and Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, are all owned by Middle Eastern interests that I know of. There's probably way more. And this is looking to add Manchester United and Liverpool to that. And, regarding the sums of money that goes into football, it's enormous sums. We can talk about the role that sports and football plays culturally in another video. I wanted this to be specifically about the takeover bid. So, FSG, Fenway Sports Group, here's the primary owner, John W. Henry, and here's here's both are Americans, but here's the United's current owner, or one of them, the head of the Glacier family. FSG put out a statement in 2022 that they were willing to sell Liverpool FC after owning them for 12 years. The bid was first met with confusion, and as it related to on-field difficulties for the team, it was sort of the view in the media was that it was kind of like how would you say it, upheaval, like just a fire sale almost, like getting out of a horrible situation. But they've since nuanced their stance to relate to the fact that they're testing the waters. And Tom Werner, one of the principal people in FSG, says that we're testing the water. If there's an offer that is a very high figure, then we'd be daft not to look at it. So they seem to be interested after seeing the interests the monetary interest. They are an investment company, a sporting investment company, but an investment company nonetheless. And the Chelsea sale, Roman, the former Chelsea owner, Roman Ibrahimovic, was a Russian oligarch, and when he sold for a substantial amount of money, it sort of put the idea in their head, according to FSG statements. And so I was worried because I happen to support Liverpool Football Club recreationally. It's fun to watch sports, and I was concerned about the sale of the club, because it's always been a how would you put this, a people-oriented club as far as like team identity, and like Liverpool itself as a city leans rather left, and not. There's a difference between European working, like labor politics, and what's going on in America, for example. There's a market difference, and working class. You can say that Liverpool has always leaned working class, as opposed to maybe teams like Chelsea, who maybe favor more of a conservative political setup. And so the concern for me was that a Qatari ownership is a new thing. It's not. Yeah, Liverpool isn't the kind of club that I am comfortable associating with sportwashing. For better or for worse, their sporting achievements has never been grounded historically in, brute force wealth. It's been about, I can romanticize it as being about people and community and passion and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, they've competed on the merit of their performances, right? And for what it's worth, in sport growing increasingly corrupt, that has its value. And in a related note, it's been shown that the financial fair play regulations that are in place to sort of keep a safety grid on the amount of money a club can invest in players has been breached by a rival club, Manchester City. And so the question is, should Liverpool have won like the majority of the league titles in the last 5 years or 6 years? And it's a tricky question. And fans seems to be divided on this. Like, some fans want a rich Saudi takeover, and other fans do not. And I can understand the appeal from both sides. Obviously, you want your team to have an immense amount of cash to recruit the biggest talents and compete, and because it's entertainment at the end of the day, right? But then you also have to look at where the money is coming from, right? And it's that becomes sort of like an ethical thing. Like, it's fine to watch TV, but what about when the shows on TV are unethical? And what you consume matters. Like, your eyeballs, it counts what you aim them at. So FSG moved away from a selling majority shareholders, or 100% or something like that, and are now looking for a minor investment. Like, they're looking to they're looking for people to buy lesser shares of the club, 20, 30, 40%, so that they can provide capital for player sales, player purchase. But they were not willing to give up according to these sources, they were not willing to, as far as I can gather, FSG was not willing to give up controlling a majority in the club. And from where I'm sitting, I think that's great. These are these are some tweets from people who claim to know about this, and I'm just showing what the people in the field are showing, or tweeting. Apparently they couldn't agree on an asking price, QIA is Qatari Interests Group, I think, or so, it's an investment firm for Qatari interests. I don't know how deep it goes. I haven't traced it. Okay, and people responded, like the fans were like, rival fans were counting this as like a W, like a win for everyone who isn't Liverpool. Like, you don't get oil money, and it's like, is that where we're at, right? Like, you don't get like blood oil money to spend on shiny new toys. It's like, oh, boo-hoo, we want human rights tainted money fueling our entertainment. I don't know, I thought that was fun. And then, the Qatari interests moved on from Liverpool as a target for their purchasing options once they couldn't take a majority share to Manchester United. There are at least 2 Qatar-based parties interested in it. Yeah. And they recently launched... nothing's public yet. This is all like... It's not hidden, but it's not public. But apparently there's legitimate interest for Middle Eastern influences to own United. And that's probably good news for United on the sporting front, since their lack of investment from the owners have significantly held them back. But it's not necessarily good news for the sport, right? And so I don't know. I wanted to comment on this because the opinions on line seems to count this as a L for Liverpool. And this, now I'm going to go more into my thoughts about the Liverpool specifically. I don't know if it's good to have these Middle Eastern parties compete for ownership of these clubs, because you'd have to ask yourself, why are they interested in it, right? And I mean, if your assumption is that it's not nefarious, there's nothing dubious, it's just rich, wealthy, very wealthy individuals who want to, compete in sports against each other, like betting on a horse or something. I mean, whatever level of explanation you prefer is down to you, I suppose. But I don't think that that's what this is. I think the large-scale investment into football by very wealthy international actors, Russian oligarchs, Middle Eastern oil money. I think it's very... it's interesting that of all the things you could use that kind of wealth at, you would use it for sports. I don't think it's... I personally, just speaking for myself as a Liverpool fan, I'm very happy that we are not being bought by an oil money, a nation-state-backed investment firm. Let's put it like that. That the club isn't owned by another nation, essentially. I am very... I don't know if FSG are ideal owners, but I respect them a lot for what they've done for the club. They've managed to retain the stadium and modernize it, renovate it, make a lot of very useful investment deals, sponsorship deals. They've managed to include a lot of American celebrity and American profiling for it. If you watch Iron Man 3, for example, there's a scene in it where one of the central characters, Ben Kingsley's character, is watching Liverpool match, and there's like a good 5-6 seconds of just uninterrupted sports broadcasting where Martin Skrtel at the time scores the winning header against Arsenal, or I don't know if that's the team, but the point being that FSG has spent, and that's one example. FSG has spent considerable amount of money trying to make football, soccer, marketable in the US through Liverpool. And I mean, it's not necessarily political, but it's certainly not inconsequential. The investment of these kind of time, energy, and resources into sports, I mean, it's all entertainment, right? In a certain sense, sports stars share the same kind of like they share the same stratosphere as like actors and musicians and such. So it vies for influence, I suppose. And if the World Cup in Qatar taught us anything, the drama beforehand, the legitimate human rights concerns, the journalistic scrutiny, the sort of debated nature of the deaths of the construction workers and the conditions of the workers, and just the fact that they had to build all the stadiums in 10 years, and just whether or not that was what the world should be doing with its resources and time. And then the largely universal success of the actual tournament and the sort of goodwill that Qatar has garnered from hosting a successful World Cup like that, especially given the legitimate criticism leading up to it. I think it's very interesting. It's sports and football is in a really weird place right now, where corrupt influences like the central governing body, FIFA, is alleged to have been bribed by both the Russians and the Qataris to host the World Cup. It's very strange, because football was, I mean, it's a sport, right? It's you look at how football, like in England when it started back in the 1880s or 1870s or 1860s, just men kicking a ball around, right? And then now it's like player sales and corruption and bribery, and I mean, it's in a very weird spot. And Liverpool and United are currently not the largest clubs in the world, but they're certainly top. How would you rank order club size? Top 5? Like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern München, PSG, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, AC Milan, Inter, Borussia Dortmund, Sporting. Like, it depends on what kind of cultural reference you what league you're in. But yeah, United and Liverpool are immense clubs. Top 5 in terms of like actual people tuning in every week. And yeah, I don't consider it a unequivocal. I don't consider it an uncomplicated matter at all. Just any nation owning a football club with that kind of reach and influence, and yeah, it's disconcerting. And there are articles about this. It's not like this isn't talked about, but I, for one, am glad that it didn't happen to Liverpool yet. It might, but for now, I'm glad it didn't. And yeah, that's probably all I have to say about football and oil money and sport washing and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm on Twitter now. It's the same as the channel name, at Unitary Designation. So you can follow me there. It's mostly just memes, but it's a great way to reach out if you have any questions or something like that. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.